We can pay to fix the damages, but, well... You forget how much you take a place like the Lodge for granted. Until it's threatened. Counter to everything I've said and believed before. I've caught myself wondering if we ever should have started this search. If this is all true, and I have it right, we've potentially started a chain of events that will create more of these Starborn. Or worse, enable the ones we've seen to become even stronger. I am not fond of either of those options. So maybe now we have no choice but to finish this journey before one of them does. I know. I've said as much before. Look, I don't like the idea of siding with either one of these groups. I'd much rather see someone from Constellation get there first. I trust any of us far more than these Starborn.
Huh? Oh, sorry. You can feel it, can't you? The Lodge just... I thought I had a grip on the situation. I'm not so sure anymore. The Sanctum Universum believes that God wanted us to travel the stars. That's gotten us here. Is this... Could this be the next step in that journey? Is this what we were meant to learn out here? Could the Unity... Could that be God? Or a way to reach him? Oh yeah? That would be something, no question. The one thing I'm sure of is that we have to see this through. We need to find the rest of the artifacts.
Here, this is for you. Well, I see your parents didn't skimp on your P's and Q's. I spotted it on our last planetary foray. All part of the service. Hey, I'm gonna pick things up one way or the other. I'll keep my eyes peeled. Who knows? Check in with me now and again and I might find more.
Everyone is staying in their rooms a lot more lately. Guess we all need some time to process.
Don't mind me. Tip your ear later. Keep coming back to one thing. Both of these Starborn, they're people you know. Only they're not the people you know. Say and do things the folks you know would never. Doesn't bode well for anyone stepping into the Unity. Or through it, or however it works. You consider what it might do to you? Easy to say when you're on this side of it, but give some thought to who or what might come out the other side. No loss as great as the loss of what you are. Let's deal.
Thank you for helping me out with the artifacts. I need to inventory all our equipment and other odds and ends for damages. Anything I can learn from is a help. It's silly, but I can't stop thinking about the idea that there are more of me out there. Even just one more Noelle is crazy to consider, but dozens, hundreds, an infinite number of them? How different might we all be? Am I not even remotely the unique individual I thought I was? My head is spinning just considering it. Well, I'm glad you seem so certain of that. I'll admit, I'm not that sure at all.
Much to see around here. remind me to tell you the first time I let Cora work on an outpost. Yeah, sorry if I'm a little out of it. Didn't get much sleep last night. Lillian and me, I tried talking with her and I lost my cool. Got a little heated. I know I woke Cora up. Well, up until a few years ago, she kept hoping we'd get back together. I mean, Lillian and I stayed married longer than we should have for Cora's sake. But we really weren't doing Cora any favors there. Well, that statement's gonna keep me up at night, like everything? Just so you know, there's a long, proud tradition of singing in the shower. Ah, Lillian. She's an incredible woman. Truly. But it is always, and I mean always, about the job. When she bleeds, Freestar colors spill out. And back when I was a ranger, we were quite the team. I never had much passion for law enforcement. But there were days I was damn proud to wear the uniform. And other days, too messy. I mean, we always walk the line well. Lillian is good that way. But some laws I think are horseshit. Like ruining lives because some barroom brawl got out of hand. That never sat well with me. I'm meant to be on my own, exploring the great beyond. It calls to me. Maybe it's Solomon saying hello. But one day, I was just done. No particular reason. It had been building for a long time. See, I tried to convince Lillian to leave it behind, come with me. She shot me down. Hard. Hurt my pride. More than a little. But she was probably right. Not for a second. And she's right. Lillian is where she's meant to be. She always wants to fight the good fight. And the Rangers are lucky to have her. We were making each other miserable. And that wore on poor Cora, too. It's funny, our latest argument started because Lillian thinks I'm putting Cora in too much danger traveling with you. I told her what you told me, that Cora's just blossoming with all this. With Sarah, you, heck, even Walter. I just know Cora has futures I could never dream of. But Lillian, not so much a fan of you. That kinda set me off. Late night stakeouts, shootouts with a lot of leftover adrenaline. Well, we were never lacking in chemistry. Compatibility, on the other hand. Don't be. It's always something. Cora's been stood up a time or two by Lillian. Always for the best reasons. Last time I think Lillian got a medal for it. But at a certain point, Lillian's excuses don't matter. Poor Cora cried for a week. I don't want to put her through that again. You are just too damn wise for your own good. Well, something to think about. For now, Lillian's going straight to voicemail, so everyone can sleep easy. When the time's right, I'd appreciate a chat. So we know the answer. Who are the Starborn? Well, we are. We're some cracked mirror version of ourselves. The whole thing seems unreal. Doesn't it? I was hoping the Starborn were somehow so advanced that their concerns were cosmic, significant. Instead, they're fighting over goddamn toys like we've been doing since caveman times. It's just a stupid game to them. And all our deaths and suffering, not relevant. And they seem to be just as messed up as the rest of us. So the Unity is a gateway. A gateway to countless possibilities. And you have a chance to go through it. Imagine. I'd be lying if it doesn't sound like the adventure of a lifetime. I don't know if you're taking anyone with you. But if you take me, I got no idea if I'd go through or not. If it weren't for Cora, I'd jump on it in a heartbeat. Cora would probably shove both of us out of the way and dive in first. Born explorer, that girl. That's good. I know it's your decision who to work with. But you gotta remember that the Hunter murdered our friend. Sure, the emissary may be a version of Andreja, but she's not our Andreja. But that doesn't make what the Hunter did right. Not by a long shot. If the Starborn are party crashers from different universes, I'd side with the one that's not willing to murder innocents to win. Excellent. Glad to hear it. My head is still spinning. Maybe after a few nights' sleep it'll be clearer. Take care. take off, Captain. got?
We have liftoff.
We're in orbit, Captain.
Got anything you need to offload? Trade Authority is always buying. Kiosk right here for you.
I come drop.
Hey. Yes. What?
Dad, do you think Solomon Co. would have liked me?
Sure. Everybody likes you, don't they?
Do you think he would have liked you?
Well, if you listen to your grandpa, Solomon Co. would have given me a good whooping. But I think he would have liked the man I grew into.
Welcome, Captain. We've been expecting you. You're clear to dock at docking port 1.
Nice clean dock there.
Captain, it is pleasant to see you.
Welcome aboard the UC Vigilance. Did you have any questions before I escort you to the commander? Yeah, listen to him carefully. The commander's a one-and-done kind of officer. In other words, he hates to repeat himself. Other than that, just observe standard military decorum, and it should keep you from serving any time on the ship's cleaning detail. I'm not authorized to divulge information about this vessel. Suffice to say, it's one of the toughest ships in the UC's arsenal. Of course. If you'd follow me, please. So, you're the vanguard that took down that terramorph on Tau City. You've made quite an impression around here. Everyone upstairs is talking about it. Damn. That must have been one hell of a firefight. I almost regret missing out on all the fun. Of course, we don't normally see that kind of action on the Vigilance, but we have our moments. All right, Vanguard. Take the lift up to Ops. Commander Akande should be waiting for you. Good luck.
Pardon? Okay. Hello?
Can we try and focus on the matter at hand, please? Ah, there you are. Commander Kibwe Kande, UC SysDev. Glad to have you aboard. I was beginning to think you were having second thoughts about Commander Dwala's offer. UC SysDev is a division of the UC Navy. While they handle big picture stuff, we deal specifically with pirates. Since you're already involved with the Vanguard, I don't have to underline how important your contribution will be to the security of our spaceways. Yes, I know. I was intentionally vague when I advised Mast of my needs, but rest assured, I'll answer all your questions in due time. So, now that you're part of the team, allow me to introduce you to your new home. This is the Operations Center of the UC Vigilance, SysDev's nerve center dedicated to the destruction of the Crimson Fleet. That's strange. According to your file, you've encountered them before. On Vectera specifically. They were the pirates that attacked your mining outpost? I'm surprised you don't remember. We are currently in the Sol system, in deep orbit around Phobos. As to why, I'll explain momentarily. Which is precisely why we're taking a more clandestine approach. We need eyes and ears inside the Crimson Fleet. Someone who can feed us information, evidence, and expose their weaknesses. The catch is that you can't just knock on their front door and ask for an application. Getting inside is going to take some finesse. Let's get one thing straight right now, soldier. I don't care if you're from the Vanguard, the Navy, or the technician that scrapes the carbon scoring off the engine nozzles. In my eyes, your past service no longer matters. You're now an agent of SysDev, meaning that it's my job to keep you alive. Good. I have just the right place for you to start. Our intelligence has managed to find a possible opening into the Crimson Fleet through Saoirse Bowden, one of their contacts. She works for the Trade Authority in Sidonia, so you'll be using a container of Aurora we've loaded on your ship to get her attention. Aurora is a Class A controlled substance that's illegal to transport outside of Neon, a city on Volai. Get caught with this stuff aboard a ship, and you're looking at some serious fines. That's classified. Suffice to say that the smuggler who was previously hauling it will be spending the rest of their life in prison. You'd better hope so. Saoirse won't be easy to dupe. Once you bluff your way into the Crimson Fleet, then the operation proceeds to evidence gathering. That's where my second-in-command, Lieutenant Gillian Toft, comes into the picture. She'll explain everything you need to know. Let's just say my superiors need proof that engaging the Crimson Fleet is a larger priority than they're willing to admit. If we shove enough concrete evidence under their noses, they'll have no choice but to allocate the resources that I've requested. At the same time, we can use the evidence to arrest members of the Crimson Fleet, weakening them enough to strike a fatal blow. Eager to get going? Good. Remember, this entire operation rests on your ability to infiltrate the Crimson Fleet and bring us the evidence we need to take them down. Then you better learn to swim, because you're diving right into the deep end on this one. I've studied your profile. I know you can do this. I'm not about to throw away someone's life on a whim or a prayer. Just use your best judgment, trust your instincts, and watch your back. I wouldn't expect any less. Look, before you begin, I want to make something perfectly clear. As an undercover operative for UC SysDev, you'll be expected to follow our code of conduct and ethics. Allow yourself to stray too far off the path, and you stand a good chance of spiraling out of control. The Crimson Fleet doesn't follow the rules. They only abide by one thing: money. All of their morals and social graces fall by the wayside in pursuit of their greed. At first glance, this can appear quite enticing, so I'm warning you not to get lured into their trap. Think you can handle that? To put it simply, you can't go into every situation with guns blazing. Think before you act. Calculate what you're doing and pull the trigger only when it's absolutely necessary. At the end of the day, your primary goal is taking down the Crimson Fleet. That's the greater good. That's what I wanted to hear. Anyway, it's time to hand you over to Lieutenant Toft. She'll brief you about the details of the evidence-gathering portion of the operation. Now, get out of here, and good luck. That's easy to answer. You don't. We'll be monitoring your activities from the Vigilance and attempting to keep it within your vicinity. When you feel you've gathered enough evidence, and at the completion of your assignments, head back here for a debrief. Beyond that, you're completely on your own. All we know is that she's been with the Trade Authority for years, which means she's been privy to some seriously shady deals. She's shrewd and she's diligent. The only reason we were able to connect her with the Crimson Fleet at all was thanks to an informant. I'm afraid she's the best lead we've got. For your own safety, nobody but myself and the crew of the Vigilance will be aware that you're working for the United Colonies. Basically, if you land in jail, you're going to have to deal with the fines. While you're running with the Crimson Fleet, you're undoubtedly going to be faced with some morally gray decisions. It's going to be difficult for you to weigh the consequences of pulling the trigger while maintaining your cover. Do what you have to do, but remember why you're out there in the first place. Then you do what you have to do. The Crimson Fleet has the potential to kill hundreds, even thousands of people per year. If it takes a few deaths to maintain your cover, then so be it. But only as an absolutely final resort. This is not a licensed killing spree. Understood? I'm not advocating violence. I'm merely urging you to weigh the consequences before you open fire. Look, I can see that you're struggling with this. So let me simplify this for you. If there's a route to your goal which doesn't involve killing innocent people, I'm urging you to follow that path. Use your instincts. I'm certain you'll do the right thing. You have your orders.
All right, we don't have a lot of time, so I need you to listen up. While you're working undercover, it's imperative that you gather as much evidence as possible. If you find any records that look suspicious or incriminating, you bring it to me. Is that understood? Well, since it isn't every day we stumble across a criminal's fully written confession, we need to build a case against our suspects. The more evidence we acquire, the stronger our case becomes. And knowing the Crimson Fleet, they'll leave plenty of evidence for you to find. I'd scour every inch of wherever the Crimson Fleet sends you. Otherwise, you're wasting our time and risking your neck for nothing. Criminals are sloppy. Look hard enough and I'm certain you'll stumble across their mess. Well, you better. Commander Akande's entire operation is resting on your shoulders. I want data slates, computer downloads, handwritten notes. Hell, I'll take anything if it'll get those bastards thrown into the brig. Haven't you been paying attention? Our goal here is the complete eradication. If you bring me evidence, we can make arrests and slowly drain their resources. Think of it as a death by 1,000 tiny cuts. For the sake of the settled systems, I hope you're right. That minor skirmish you had with them on Vectera was nothing compared to the death and destruction those pirates leave behind. If you've seen what I've seen, you'd understand why I'm pushing you so hard. What? No. It's personal. It has nothing to do with you. Just stick to the mission and you'll be fine. That's all we're asking. Oh, before you go, there's one more thing. Commander Akande has authorized a credit disbursement for each piece of evidence that you return, as compensation for your efforts. Well, that's just it. You're not career military, are you? And speaking frankly, you're completely out of pocket during this operation. You'll be paying for your own supplies and other unexpected incidentals. So, if I were you, I'd stop asking questions and accept the compensation. It's not generous, it's motivational. Commander Akande's idea. All right, we've loaded a container of Aurora into your ship's cargo hold. We're also providing you with a sample you can use to tease the goods. We've cleared your ship for launch. Proceed to Sidonia. Make contact with Saoirse Bowden, and with any luck, she'll point you to the Crimson Fleet. That should do it. You're dismissed. Not really, no. I've learned to keep my personal experiences separate from the job. Yeah. Maybe. No. It's not really an appropriate time to be going over my private life. There are much more important things to be done. Let's just stick to the job at hand and concentrate on the mission. But, maybe we can talk about it some other time, okay? Don't worry, the container's been registered with UC Security, so you shouldn't have any trouble. Even if you're scanned. Of course, if we find out you tried to sell it to someone outside the boundaries of this particular operation, well, I don't think I need to tell you the consequences of making that mistake. We'll be keeping them close at hand until this operation is complete. So, we'll be holding them in the Vigilance's brig. If you're feeling particularly ruthless, you could always head down there and say hello. I'm sure they'll be thrilled to see you. We'll be here if you need us. Yes?
Hello?
Howdy.
pardon.
Howdy.
We'll keep the brig ready for any pirates you bring in. Welcome to the brig. As a member of SysDef, you may talk with the prisoners as long as you are mindful of operation security. As a personal rule, I simply ask that you adhere to UC Navy standards of cleanliness at all times. That means no mud on your boots, your hands are washed, and you are free of any contagious diseases. Besides the fact that it's healthier, a sanitary brig is important for station security. In my experience, a prisoner will hide a shiv under a flake of dust if you let them. The cleaner a space is, the easier it is to spot irregularities, both inside the cell and out. I trust your Commander Ikande's undercover mole. I understand the lack of hygiene is part of the cover. So, lucky for you, you're an exception to my usual rule. But try not to abuse the privilege. He's a good man, singularly focused when it comes to the fleet. But that's not to say he doesn't care about his crew. I can tell you a story as an example if you'd like to hear it. So, I'm a bit of a workaholic, and I forget to take breaks. One day, Commander Ikande passes by the brig and sees me at my desk. He takes one look at my haggard face and says, "Officer, I'm headed to the mess hall. If you're not with me in 15 minutes, your services will no longer be required on my ship." I tried to protest, but he was dead serious. So I went. We had lunch, talked about old times, and I went back to the brig, refreshed and ready to work. It's little things like that. You can see he pays attention, and that he cares about the people, not just the work. We have multiple turrets attached to the ceiling. If you've met Ensign Betty, she's personally calibrated them to ensure they cover the entire area. That being said, firing the turret should be considered a last resort. That's a loaded question. We err on the side of caution here, short of any physical abuse. But with the Crimson Fleet, you have to be very careful. If you give them an inch, they'll take a parsec and find a way to stab you with it. Verbally, yes. There's a lot of bad blood with the fleet, stretching across generations, myself included. Sometimes that blood spills over. As long as there's no actual fighting, I tend to let both sides dish it out. True, the rules for POWs technically don't apply to pirates. It's more of an ethical line we have to be mindful of. But I'll be the first to admit it's not an exact science, and we've made mistakes in the past with both the carrot and the stick. As chief officer of this brig, my worst fear is that we'll someday repeat them. The cells you see here are for captured pirates and prisoners of war. If you apprehend any pirates during the course of your missions, they'll be detained here. As you were.
Yes, what? Excuse me.
I've got some stuff on my mind, when you have the time. Any day you make it through is a victory in my book. You know, traveling with you has been something else. But the best part is when we're charting course for the next jump. I never feel at home planetside. How about you? Well, how non-committal of you. See, the people I don't get are the ones who never go anywhere. They stay in their own hometown, they just live and die there. There's a whole galaxy full of wonder and things you could never imagine. How can they be satisfied with one tiny sliver of it? I mean, right? I think everyone should at least get out once. And go someplace, meet people. Get out of your comfort zone so you can really see that the worlds are more than just little issues and bickering. There's a mess of ugly out there, but my God, there's grandeur too. Space. That great void. That's the stuff for me. I want to be the code that finds something deep out there. Solomon got us here in a big way. I'd like to discover something that moves people. Makes them feel just a bit of what I feel when I jump systems. Not knowing what's next. Always keep them guessing. Yeah, it's funny, as much as Jacob, my dad, cashes in on the family name, he's got no adventure in him. And I get it. It's dangerous, sometimes scary out there. But that's what exploration is. Going off the map and seeing if there truly be dragons. Not one drop. He's always been about making deals, keeping goods moving. Despite his many, many flaws, I think deep down, he is trying to do good for Kilo City. But if you're gonna be name-dropping Solomon all the damn time, you should act a little more like him. I couldn't ask for better company.
Hey.
Mole. Good day, Captain.
Already finished the pre-flight checklist. That's my girl. Feeling good now? You feeling good?
Constellation has been collecting a ton of new things. Ancient things. Do you think people are starting to notice?
Your ship is way bigger than Dad's. Ahoy, Captain!
People are saying Constellation members have visions. Well, I hope all your visions involve kittens and rainbows.